Go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, I'm pursuing BS in nursing, and my major is nursing. I was a nurse back in Ghana. Came up here to have an upgrade. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Now, Benedicta.
Okay, so my name is
Bennett, please, before you start, Mr. And slurring or yeah, to soka krama, right? You can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Benedicta Idu, and there's a sound at the background.
Yeah, I'll mute them. You just
okay, so okay, my name is Benedicta Idu, and I'm here in St. Cloud State University in Minnesota, and I'm offering my MBA, that's Master's in Business Administration. And yeah, so I did 3 years in university in Ghana already before I came here. So that's how come I'm pursuing my master's, and this is just like the first semester. So yeah, that's
thank you very
basically
much.
about me.
All right, thank you, Bennett. So today what we will do is that I'll just ask a few questions, and then I'll leave the platform to you, the participant, to ask your, specific questions.
Okay.
If you ask any question that is irrelevant, I will mute you and remove you. Yes. That kind of thing. No, let's be serious and ask specific questions, very intelligent questions. That will help us. You get it? And as I said, after, mute yourself, please mute yourself. Charles Bonnie, mute yourself, please.
Okay.
Take your phone and mute yourself.
Okay.
So I'll be starting with Nancy. I have known Nancy for quite some time, since I think 2020 or so. Nancy, tell me a little bit about how when did you even decide to go study outside? When was the decision made? And then when you decided to study outside, what was the step that you took?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mankwa. So it has actually been a dream to study abroad, and as you all know, getting hold of a very good agency can be really tough and scarce. So I think I came about this agency through a friend, and it's been quite good. It's been quite good. I got in contact with Ayora, and then I got to know Mr. Mankwa, and being of a tremendous help. The journey has been quite a roller coaster. It wasn't smooth because this is actually my second one. But it ended in praise, and I'm happy. I'm happy I went through that part. I'm actually happy I was even denied for the first time, because I may have not been here to talk to you about how everything went. Probably my denial would be a step in saving somebody from making that same mistake, or I can't actually call it a mistake, but it may save somebody from being denied or being doubted. So, the agency has been really good to me. Now they're like family. I call them anytime I need anything, talk to them concerning any advice. You may not get it from a lot of agencies, but this is an agency, when you work with them, you automatically become like a family. Some agencies you work with them and then that's it, it's a goodbye. But to these people, you can just come up at any time, and then it's been good. Long story short, it's been good.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Bennett. Bennett, when did you decide to also study abroad, and then when you got in contact with me?
Okay, so first of all, around 2020, I Someone introduced me to an agency. I don't want to mention the name, but it's around Circle. So Circle, I mean, we all know where Circle is.
Okay.
So this agency said, oh, we can get you a visa. We can get you a visa, just give us some money. And they charged me like a lot of money. And they told me to pay 60%.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself and start.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so like I was saying, I paid a huge amount of money to this agency. They are situated in like Circle. We all know where Circle is, yeah. So they took me a huge amount of money and they told me, oh, we bring your passport. We will get you a visa. For more than, I would say almost 2 years, my passport was with them. It nearly got expired, so I even needed the old passport to do a new one. So I told my cousin is in the United States. Her name is Lydia. So at the time she was in Maryland. And I told her, Lydia, do you know anybody who can get me like a visa to the United States? And she said, yeah, I know, but the way I spoke with her, I was like, I'm tired of this agency that has spent my money like that. And today they're just asking you for this and that, and you don't see anything, So when I told her, she said, oh, why didn't you tell me? I have someone that can bring you. So yeah, that was how I found Dope Study Abroad, Mr. Amankwa. And she gave me her number. To be honest, I didn't believe in him. I thought like they were like the same as, because I've been duped before. I felt like, to be honest, I don't, but I'm just gonna give it a try. I don't believe in it, but I'm just going to give it a try. If you can ask Mr. Amankwa himself, he always tells me that I was not serious. He was the one who was rather pushing me, like pressuring me. Sometimes he'll text me and say, hey, Benedicta, now who is serious, dear? And then I would laugh. So I paid the money. And then when my interview was up, he sent me a message and says, can you go for an interview on this date? And I was like, wow, just like that. I mean, this has just been like 4 months or 3 months that I met Mr. Amankwa, because I paid the money like somewhere in ending of January last year. And then in like, say, 3 months later, March, April, he sent me a message and said, can you go for an interview? July this, July that. And then I said, yes. Even my response was not even enticing to him. So at a point, he would be angry at me and said, what is wrong with you? You're not serious. I said, okay, well, yeah, I'll go. So I was scared. To be honest, I was extremely scared to go for the interview in Ivory Coast, so I had to go with my mom. He knows. He was shocked when I said,
yours was
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So at a point, I said, Mrs. Me, I'm going to go with my mom because I don't know, I'm scared. He said, Benedicta, no problem. I mean, if you have the flight ticket to go with your mom, that's fine. So I went with Sierra Leone with my mom. And he was shocked. He was shocked. So I went there, and before I went, I had never met him in person. So I think 2 days before I met Kono, still Namin booked him a flight. Mr. Tio was like, this girl, I don't even understand you. Are you serious or what? Because where we have gotten, will you go for the interview? I remember, I still have the message. He sent me a message. Are you sure you will go for the interview? And I said, yes. So Namin booked him a flight. I booked my flight just, I think a day or two before I traveled. It was quite expensive. So he was blaming me for that. And then he said, well, oh, now, yeah, I told you, book the flight. So I just said, okay. So I booked the flight, and then I met him also 2 days before my departure. Into me drew me, and then we were vibing. He was teaching me what I would need. He gave me my documentations, and that was it. I left with my mom to Sierra Leone. The next day we rested, and then the following day was my interview. So I went for the interview, and then just like this, I just spoke. Every question that was asked, I answered with braveness. Like you have to be bold when you're talking. One thing about this interview, the interviewers, is that they don't like it when you're so timid or and all that. They don't like that. You just have to talk with so much boldness. Into Obisamia, then I say it, Obisamia, then I say, oh, Nim Krana can be and then boom, I just got the visa. In fact, I didn't have the intention that I was going to have it, but I was I mean, it's a little, we ambitious. I mean, we are humans. We ambitious no matter what. Even if, to me, if I hadn't got it, that's fine, because I was like, but the moment I had it, I was like, Mr. I mean, everybody was happy. So yeah, I mean, I think Obiabe to me, it's just easy. And thanks to Mr. Chiflos Amankwa and his team, now I'm offering my master's in business administration. I'm doing my MBA. I mean, last 2 years, if someone had told me that I was going to do my MBA abroad, I wouldn't believe it. But here I am. So yeah.
Yeah, we thank God. All the time when we go through the process, and then at the end you get a visa. That is what gives us the gratification. You get it, because we know that whatever we are teaching you, or whatever process that we are taking you through, at the end of the day, you need to get your visa. Who is that? So you see, let me tell you something. These things, take it seriously, eh? Those who are moving around with their phones, at times visa. That's what that bed is. So easy. Don't joke with these things, eh? I'm telling you. You see, if you know the number of people that are looking forward to going for their interview, you'll be marveled. So when you get a chance, take it seriously. Even some of you, when you are trying to contact me, or you try to call me, you don't even get me. Charles Meboa. Because me busy. And when you get the opportunity like this, please make use of it. I want to turn to Nancy, because Nancy has a peculiar case. Nancy, first of all, went to Sierra Leone. She was so good. In fact, she was excellent. So even when she was going for the interview, I slept, because Minister Nancy Kojaba. Nancy me. She was crying. She was denied. She was crying profusely. But after some time, was it up to a year, Nancy?
No. 9 months.
About 9 months. 9 months is 1 year. You get it?
Okay.
Yeah. So I know some of you here, you've been denied. Some of you in this meeting, you have been denied. And then you think, oh, it's lost. Someone waited another 9 months. Yeah, because you see, this is someone who needs the thing badly. And these are the people that I'm looking for. That's why Benedicta was telling me that I was like, Benedicta, are you serious at all? Because we don't joke with these things that we are doing. You get it? There are a lot of, quack agencies out there destroying the name of this agency and all that. So if we've gotten the chance to work with you and you are not taking your side seriously, it gets me mad. You get it? So you guys who haven't gotten the visa yet, or you have been denied, take your time, learn your lessons, and wait. Sometimes it's not because of what you said. Sometimes it's because of the person who interviewed you. Obuawa is so mean. That's why you have the chance to, go a number of times so that you go and meet a different person who is lighthearted. So tell me a little bit, Nancy, about your first interview in Sierra Leone after going through that stress on the sea, boat on the sea, airport, Tell me a little bit about how it happened, and when you also go to Cote d'Ivoire, what happened?
So my documents were sent to me by Mr. Mankwa. I went to print everything. And before I got the man, I looked through it. I looked through my documents, everything. And then I was so much into getting this visa. So at a point I'm married, and I realized my name instead of Mrs. was Miss. Like I just wanted you to know how vividly I kept looking into my documents. I called Mr. I was like, Mr. Mankwa, Mario, no one said me why Mr. I was like, hey Nancy. We all know he can be a militant sometimes. Hey Nancy, just to let you know how he believed in me. If there was one thing that I was really afraid of, or if there was one thing I really wanted to do, was to impress the agency, not even my husband, not even my family. I just wanted this agency that believes so much in me. Naturally, maybe I'm a casa fast. Putting that aside, I'm a very brave person, and I'm a I can stand in front of people, no matter the number, to talk and all that. So they believe so much. They saw that in me, and they believe so much in me. So they didn't even care about the fact that I'm seeing mistake with me. So I was like, okay, so this man really believes in me. I've got to do my best. Because tell me, why nursing? Because I want to pursue nursing because and as I said earlier on, I'm a nurse back in Ghana. I was like, I want to pursue nursing because nursing is so important. It involves human life, so you have to be serious. You can't be negligent, because your negligence can lead to obi and all that. So okay, that's correct. I know you. That's correct. Move to another question. Why St. Cloud? I spoke about St. Cloud and everything. St. Cloud having ultramodern facility, blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, you're good. And then he comes back to ask me, I can see that there was a huge amount of money from the school. Can you show me a letter that shows you're going to have an on-campus employment? And then in my head, I was like, wait a brony. And almost 99.9% of abroad schools have on-campus jobs. What person will penalize me and ask, why are you asking this question? So in my head, so I kept looking through my documents, and then he gave me time to look through my documents. I kept looking through my documents and all that. I don't want to lose. I don't like giving up that. I don't want to lose into me. I am in admission. I was like, oh no, not this one. I don't know what I did. I think I looked back, and then by the time I looked, I sliding me passport. There was a you saw your documents. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm quoting him verbatim. I'm sorry, ma'am. We cannot give you a visa. And the reason why we cannot give you a visa is in the paper we've slide in your. As my mom say, how am I going to go home? Because me try my ticket in December. At the time, me try my ticket to go to to go to Sierra Leone. At 6,000. How do you buy a 4,400? I'm making that what you mean. I'm like, what am I even saying? How am I going to call these people that believes in me so much? How am I going to call them? Now, me join my school Ben Emma approve of on-campus job and all that. I called Mr. Mankwasi. I didn't cry. I wept. If there's another word after weeping, that's what I did. I wept. I wept a lot. Because I know that I said everything. Why did you have to? I was like, Nancy, then you know what? You calm down. Oh, I got to my hotel room, and then I'm always going to salute this agency. Yara called me with a red eye. It was like she was crying with me. Because I didn't know Yara from anywhere, but through this agency, she became a friend. Like, she became like a sister. I call her a sister. She became like a sister. She called me with red. I was like, Nancy. And she bribed some boy. I was like, Mr. Mankwa, I worry him a lot. He believed in me. How am I even going to call? How am I going to go back? how am I going to go back to this military regime? But it was through that moment I realized he has a very soft heart. Believe you me. Nobody has paid me to come and sit here. So I won't come and sit here and lie. It was that moment I realized he has a very good heart. It was like, Nancy, bra, ude oba fear, bra. My parents, my mom was like, we'll put our money in it. My husband was so broken. I told him I couldn't call him because if there was one thing my husband likes about me, is about the fact that I am so brave. And he knows me. My husband, about the casa, my and all those was like, how did this even happen? I didn't get to talk a lot with my family, but it was this agency. They kept calling me. People like, oh, Aden. Well, me buy. When I got to Accra, call me someone called Nancy. Would fear. Most of the times you call me, you don't get me because due to the busy nature of Nijimano. But throughout this healing phase and this process of mine, he was there. I wouldn't lie, he was there. The video 2 days, he called me. Okay, I said, another country. So, I was like, oh, Meko. He wanted to do everything because he saw my enthusiasm. He wanted to do everything to help me to go. So we paid the money and all that. And it happened that country was also actually not interviewing Ghanaians. For the game, someone quiet heading. So Nancy, for Ivy Coast, and I'm going to say this. Me, besides you coming to for Ivy Coast, me got here and this is me Jamie. Someone coming in this house. If I now want to I pay 1,000 and Kaino means yeah. I want to say I boss if I was Kano. I said Nancy, oh, my boss wouldn't know. Me encourage me 1,700, but wouldn't me boss? He's so lovely. Hey, Mr. Manka, don't worry. If you get the money, bring it. I'm afraid. I was saying. And then Mr. Manka might not know this, but I was giving me assurance. Nancy will be fine. I was so worried, but now I'm sure no. I'm sure Mr. Manka. Now I laid back. I was thinking I laid back, but now I'm pressure behind the scenes. I can't remember that me call sphincters go from person. Oh, me say now I won't interview no back. I will say museum the island. I wake up at night. Museum they say, hey, when I so uncle. I'm trying to say I'll just laugh. Or be some question. I'm giving us say, hey, so I will feel in your own thing. I won't for me. I wasn't calling. I was laid back because all my pressure. Well, to my best of knowledge, Sana not me describe no. Another question I'm in say, because whatever question he was asking me answer no. After that day, I think one of the king was there. Some question my answer. The Jimmy document. Then I left. I went. I because the simu pine. We had met somebody who was refused of the visa. And it was as if it was me. I cried. I helped that person to cry a lot. That person was so good. But these counselors, I told them, they want something more. I'm gonna pay something more. But you be a question, I will answer that. No sign for me question. Why then? About baby sao. I was me shaming. And then I would repeat. It was through this process of mine that I realized Ejuma to Mrs. Nimpa and say Nimpa somebody's first impression may not mean that is really who they are. Obia on the interview, and Fabi Samana, come and see me pressuring Mr. Mankwa. I called Mr. Mankwa. Personally, I went with 3 bank statements, all from Mr. Mankwa, just to tell you how much of a pressure I gave him. Monsieur, Papa bank statement, my worry, Mr. Mihammed Kudo, or say Nancy, and then I will pay. Mr. Mankwa, Mihammed bank statement. You remember my son friend, Mr. Mankwa. I said, me say, hey, Nancy, super so the baby. Me de koya de me ma, they kind of say, win cats now koi. I was enthused. I knew what I was running after. I knew what I wanted. So I didn't buy it. I did my prayers. Jokaina, me show you all the and then interview questions, no, I'm ready and all that. About worthiness. Whatever advice they give me, Yaira is giving me. And in this particular interview, one thing I'm doing my prayer topic was what King told me. He's a worker at this place, this agency, Dope. He said, Nancy, and Kugu Yenimasi because fire bro we did to him. Meji and one of your machines, you ready. You ready be come and booking and was what. So they did went Mikoja Nessini, maybe me brokenness for brooch, I say, I worked, I went, my committee, I went. And that advice was all from Mr. Mankwa. To look presentable, but normal and cute and everything. I just presented my everything. Okay, so where's the cloud? I said everything I needed to say. I feel flip it to me personal. Say, maybe saying, I was like, age. So so in her mind, as at this age, I feel I call away. Sometimes I say, like, school, yeah. I was like, oh, me nursing training back in Ghana. I'm a nurse. That's okay. Me from a transcript, when I'm doing transcript, man. And see that as at that part, it clicked me that Mr. Mankwa told me sometimes be pushing them with the document. So because when as I realized that I was laid back on giving my document, the rest of the things I kept giving. She was, are you married? What did he even ask? He was like, okay, who is sponsoring you? I said, my father, my husband, and since I've worked a little myself, because I was having 3 bank statements, I wanted her to see that even if me papa didn't answer the cry, it would do something. It would do something. So I gave all these 3 to her, and she was like, okay, is Francis your husband? I said, Francis is my father. And she just looked at all 3 bank statements, just the bottom part of it. She just wanted to know the amount of money in there for trading now. Like, okay, no, I didn't want me back. Any kids? I was like, yes, 2, because she could have asked me, are you married? But also, Mr. Mankwa told us sometimes question will be fixing other things. And be a lot of questions. Question 7. The last 3 questions, what's fixing in with the first questions? A man has some short. In the bank statement part, we can and all that. So obviously, my worry was like, how many any kids? I said 2. Are you going to go with them? So tricky me said then I said no. And that she went to the extent of asking me the practical things in nursing. Asked me, some of the practical things we do in nursing. So sometimes when we are given what we have to learn a year corner, we make sure that what we are doing, we know a bit about this. And I said we should just not boo any question, say, excuse me to say a question. I knew somebody, I'm in yeah, they were to me from me, and more and so they would be a grow. We didn't quite make sure. Questions about cases, we didn't quite make sure. Down say, me there and I said, but then I obeyed Mr. Mankwa and then Dope for I obeyed them. And you know what people be saying, maybe I'm a demand and I'm catching so nursing, practical thing about nursing, giving of IV lines, administration of medicines, passing of NG tube by the 5 minutes more.
You have 2 minutes.
Everything and then everything and then she was like, okay, congratulations. Make sure you go with your I-20 whenever you're entering US. And then that was it. Mom, the day I was supposed to go for my visa, my passport. That's basically it. So the journey has been good.
Yes.
Kudos to Dope.
Thank you very much, Nancy. So as I said, a greater part of this meeting is going to be questions and answers. I might not be able to ask all the questions. So now I leave the floor to anyone who has a question to ask either Benedicta or Nancy. Benedicta is reading master's program, and then Nancy is also reading bachelor's program, which is nursing. And I know most of you here have similar program that you're also waiting to interview for. So you can just raise up your hand and ask your question. When you raise up your hand, I'll call your name and then you ask your question. Okay. Who is that? Who is Chris Amenyo? Who is that?
Chris, I joined. I got the link and then I tried to join.
Who is it?
Yo, shout out to me.
Who is Chris
Hello?
Amenyo? Yes.
Yeah, I said I got the link through Yaya and then I joined.
Okay, all right, no problem. Papaya Flip. Who is Papaya Flip? Papaya.
Yeah, Mr. Tio, is me, Francis.
Francis. Okay, Francis, go
Yeah.
ahead and ask your question.
Please, my question is for the lady who is doing business admin. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I want just like
Francis,
just like the lady who said she's reading nursing, said they asked her something practical about nursing. Did you also get any questions that was to describe anything practical about business admin in your interview?
Okay, so the question is for me, right?
Yeah, Benedicta.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So when I went there, he asked, it was a male who interviewed me. So he asked, why St. Cloud? And then I said, I want to learn how, mind you, I used my purchasing and supply, like my university degree to at this point, he knows that I don't know anything about master's degree. You understand? So he was asking me, why am I going to continue my education with at St. Cloud? So I now said, okay, I want to continue. I want to learn how to I want to continue my education in the procurement sector, because I want to learn how the procurement sector works abroad, so that I will incorporate it in my company when I come back to Ghana. So he knows that I was going to do a master's and supposedly know that I'm going to continue my education from the procurement. So that's what I told him, that I want to learn how the procurement systems work abroad. So I want to learn it, so that when I come back to my company as a manager, I'm going to incorporate it in my company. And I think the next question he asked me concerning my school was, what are you going to read? It's no beyond any questions. I didn't get much of my course related questions. I didn't get much of that. I only got two questions out of it. And Obisami said, why am I going to study that course? And I'm say, I'm continuing my education. So that's why I decided to do my master's. I've already finished with my degree. So that's why I'm going to just continue with my master's over there and learn how the procurement system works, and then incorporate it in my company when I come back.
All right. Thank you. So
yeah, the other questions.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you. Let me chip this in. You see, when you are going to the interview, mind you, a lot of people always want to get all the documents that they can get in the world to go and present. But you see, Americans are not interested in your documentation. I always say this. You get it? I always say this. Senka documents that will be a visa. If it was for documents and then filling of forms, then everyone would get, American visa. But the Americans are not interested in your document. They are interested in your personality. The person standing in front of him or her. So when you present yourself, for instance, if you tell the interviewer that I'm a nurse, if you are a nurse, then I'm going to ask you practical questions about a nurse. What do you do? What are this? And then you have to be using your terminology so that he will know that you're truly a nurse. You went there and you said you're a procurement manager or procurement officer. Then she's going to ask you questions pertaining to procurement. Do you get this, Francis? So that, as I said, we have ways of presenting everybody. Sometimes you might not even be working. You might be home, but we are going to present you in a way that will suit the program that you're going to do. You get it?
Okay, I get it. Thanks very much.
Thank you too. Ola, I saw your hand up. Is Ola around? Isaac,
Boss, I'm here.
Okay, Ola, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yeah. So, boss, my question is somehow related to the interview. I wanted to ask the dear ladies that, especially the one doing the business administration, I wanted to ask her, is she working and schooling? If she is, how is she able to I know it sounds a bit personal, but how is she able to fund her education? Is the family helping her with the education, or most of the fundings are coming from the job she's doing over there? It's personal. If she doesn't want to answer, that's fine. But
Okay,
I'm just curious. Thank you.
okay, Benedicta.
Okay, so first of all, as a master's student, you can work as a graduate assistantship. Okay, so if you're fortunate to get a graduate assistantship program, you work for the school. So they will schedule you so that your classes and your work does not crash. All right, so as a master's student, you only go to class 5:30 to 10 p.m. Now 5:30, the normal working hours here for the school's administration is 5 o'clock. You close from like 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You're done with work. So if you have class at 5:30, you can go to class. Also with the master's program, you don't go to class every day. That is how come people are able to do their master's and work at the same time, even back in Ghana. Master's program students, they only go to class from 5:30, let's say it depends, but enumerate, master's classes enumerate. You get it. So your school and your work will never crash. Now, secondly, yes, you can work here and the money will yeah, it's gonna help. I mean, it's not a lot for a start, but you have to work on campus to be able to get your social security number before, if you want to do any other thing, you can. So for a start, you have to work on campus. And also with the maybe how I'm surviving here and all that, my husband helps me out a little bit. So yeah, that's
Okay,
how
thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
surviving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Benedicta. Isaac Ochery, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question. Isaac Ochery. Isaac Ochery, do you have a question? Who else has a question? Obu, a question, you. You see, when you don't ask question and after this meeting, you call me or you text me, I'll not mind you. Please ask your questions now. They are here. They have passed through the system. They have passed through the process, just like you're passing through. So ask your question. Obedman, ask your question. Sandra Opoku Ajiman. Sandra.
Yeah,
I expect you to ask a question, Sandra.
yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
My question is, I will be going for an interview very soon, and I don't have the admission letter from the school. I only have my I-20.
Sandra, this is not a
And
question. Sandra, it's not a question for Benedicta and Nancy. Then that means you don't even have any question. Odro Kwame, Sandra, I'm meeting you tomorrow at the office. So it's between the two of us, right?
Yeah, hello, Theophilus. Yeah,
Yes.
so in terms of the school
who is Odro Kwame? Who is Odro Kwame?
Jack Odwa.
Yes, who is Odro Kwame, bro?
From Cash.
But let me reveal yourself. Cash for those one. Brad Payne.
Jack Odwa.
Charlie, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I wanted to know the school options. Is it influenced by the agency, like in terms of the school? Because some of them are quite expensive. So I'm looking at it for my brother. So I want to know how it works.
Okay, so the school, sometimes if you have your own school, you can bring the school and recheck the requirement. If you meet their requirement, we can start the process for you if you meet their requirement. Apart from that, we also have our own schools that we work with that are very convenient. You get this? Because when you look at the fees, it will scare you. But like Benedicta, Nancy, they are paying like 10,000 or something like that in a year, and they will allow you to pay installments. You get it?
Okay.
So it's not like you're going to school in US for free. It's never going to be free, but you have to get a school that will make your payment
Flexible.
convenient for you. and where you can also
Okay.
get student as graduate assistantship and then other work on campus to do. And then when you vacate during the summer holidays, you can work as many hours as you want. You get it? Yeah.
Okay.
Ola was asking, Ola wanted to know how Benedicta is paying her fees. But you see, you don't have to, get worried about how the moment you get a visa, it means it's God who has given you the visa and knows how you are going to, survive over there. So yeah, Odro, we can get to a school. The schools that we work with, their fees are moderate, and we also have students there. Before you even get there, you contact them. Before Nancy and Benedicta got to campus, they had already gotten the accommodation. Someone met them at the airport, took them to campus, So, and yeah, you're going to be stranded. You get it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but apart from that, if you have a school in mind or you have already applied and gotten admission, we can continue the process for you. Because at the end of the day, the visa is what we are looking at.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, so Sandra, I cut you short because tomorrow I'm going to meet you at the office. And then questions concerning admission letter, I see it to be irrelevant. Nobody looks at Benedicta. When you went to the interview, did they ask you of your admission letter?
No.
Like we've been writing everything.
Yeah, the I-20, that's actually the
Let me
most
tell you something.
important thing.
When I tell you something, you just have to listen. You see, abuwa bi ho abuwa na the friend then chem oba abontin obeka say alligator ewu nsu na say you have to believe. If the person has sent countless number of people to the US and you have 2 people here giving you testimony, you do not have to question some of the things that I tell you. You get it? Because the person has done it before. The person has walked that route. And so some of the questions, I know you are jittery because you're about to go to the interview. But let me tell you, whatever feelings that you're going through right now, they have already gone through. That's why they are here. So if you have personal questions, you can ask them. Apart from that, the admission letter is not relevant. Only your I-20 is relevant.
Okay.
Akasedu, please ask your question. Makasedu, please unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I said I wanted to know the lady Nancy.
Sorry?
Nancy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, also I said she got rejected.
Please speak English.
First
Speak
one.
English. We have people from other countries here. We check speak, yeah.
Okay, she got rejected on the first interview. So I wanted to know in the second interview, did they ask her about the first interview, why she got rejected? And if they asked her, what was her reply to that question?
Okay. Nancy.
Okay. Fortunately for me, I wasn't asked. But I've heard some people ask, but I wasn't asked. Like not even a clue of the fact that what I interviewed her. No.
Yeah. Mark, let me tell you something.
Okay.
That is why after all this process, when you are going to the interview, you have to pray. It's very important. If you are a Christian, you have to pray. If you are a Muslim, you have to pray. Very important, because you see, you can go and meet someone, an interviewer, who is mean or stubborn. You see, when you last week or last 2 weeks, someone went to Cote d'Ivoire, and that person has done this visa lottery multiple times. Visa lottery, but an interviewer can see that you have done the visa and overlook it. So what I say. But someone who deliberately want to refuse, you can say, have you done this visa lottery multiple times? I can see that you want to go to America, but you are desperate. I have refused you. That's what the woman told the guy. But the guy wasn't the only person who had applied for the visa lottery. You get it? So the woman sees it. He saw that Nancy has been refused before. You see, whenever you go to the interview and they ask you a question, don't think they haven't seen it. The moment they ask you, it means they have seen it. You get it? Someone went to Sierra Leone. He was asked, have you been to the Canadian embassy before? He said, no. He was asked again, tell me the truth. Have you been to the Canadian embassy? We said no. The woman turned her laptop for her to see the number of times that he has gone to the Canadian embassy. It means that he's desperate. But he will overlook it. He will not talk about it. So truly, the woman saw that Nancy had gone to Sierra Leone for her interview and didn't get back. She overlooked it. But at that point in time, she wants to give her a fair hearing. Well, she wasn't back. You get it?
Yeah.
Much.
Okay, thank you too.
Phyllis, ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question. Phyllis.
Please, I wanted to ask that when you get to the school, can you change your program?
Can you change your program?
Yeah, after
yes, of course.
Admission to the
yes, of course. You can change your program. You can even change your school. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. It's very easy. You can change your program even before you start classes. You can go to the admission office and change your program. Who else has a question? Will be any question? If you have a question, unmute yourself and ask your question, please. We have a few minutes. By 7 p.m. we have to end. Hello?
Mr. Mankwa.
Yeah, who is this?
Hello? Yeah, this is George, your small boy from Shema. Mr. Mankwa, this question goes to the three of you. Like, if you wanted to school outside, and maybe you don't have much experience in education here in Ghana, like, what is Ben Sana?
Yeah, George, your question is to me, it's not to them. I'll call you later and talk to you about it, okay?
Oh, okay,
I understand your situation, yeah. Who else? Joseph, which Joseph? Is it Joseph Jumfo?
Yeah, Mr. Mankwa.
Joseph, go ahead, ask your question.
I want to ask the nursing students. Like, you see in Ghana, the nursing education after vacation, they go on like clinicals. Is it the same in the United States?
Nancy.
Yes, boss.
He's asking that in the US, when you vacate, you do clinicals, like for practicals, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so one thing back in Ghana, immediately you get into the nursing school, you've entered the nursing program. And first semester, you start your clinicals. Here in US, it's not like that. As you are doing the BSN, the first 2 years, you are not in the nursing school, you have not started. Though your major is nursing, you have not started. That's why Mr. Mankwa said, you can change your course. So probably when you get to the second year, when everybody is going into the major, somebody will change the course. So though you are majoring in nursing, when you start the school, you are not in the nursing yet. You do 2 years prerequisites. So it's until your third year before you enter into the nursing program. Right? That's what the question.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Joseph, are you answered?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Isaac Ocher, have you asked your question already? Isaac?
No, sir. Mr. Uncle.
Yes.
I want to ask, during the interview aspect, will you get assistant who will be leading you to the embassy to do your runs before the day of your interview?
Yes. We have a representative who will meet you at the in either you are going to Cote d'Ivoire or Sierra Leone. You have someone who will meet you at the airport or at the bus station and take you to your hotel, everything. You get it?
Okay. I wanted to ask.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask, are you supposed to get there, let me say, 1 week before the interview or 2 days before the interview?
2 days. 2 days. 2 days.
2 days before the interview.
Yeah, 2 days, so that you have only 1 day to rest. And then the next day you go for your interview.
Mr.
Okay,
Mankwa,
thank you very much.
Yes.
I think to the first question, so since you would have to get, you are going to do 2 years before you enter into the nursing program. So until you enter into the nursing program at your third year, then you start your clinicals. I think I remember. The first 2 years, no clinical for you, you're not considered to be in the nursing program.
Okay, thank you.
Any much they Braba Hassan.
Um,
Braba.
Gifty Jesse, Gifty, ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question, Gifty.
Yeah, please. I want to ask something about the I-20. I don't know whether I can go ahead.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. In my case, I saw that the problem was coming from the I-20 because the woman asked me, when am I starting the program? And I told her, he said, I'm sorry, what I'm having in my system is different from what you are presenting to me. So I think, and I remember the I-20, I sent it to me. So I saw that the course and the date was different from what I presented. So I think we have to also check about all these things.
Yeah,
because the
Gifty.
questions that they asked us, hello.
Gifty. Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was able to answer everything, but I realized it's because of the I-20. And I think it applies to the three of us.
Okay. So you see, whenever you go to an interview and then you come back, and let's say you didn't get the visa, you have to, we meet you, I will meet you, and then we go through whatever happened so that we'll be, otherwise, one way, what the best name be brave. What I say. One way, what the best name be brave, because as I've said, Gifty, okay, 1,000 coins. Don't go interview. They make what I say. And it's not like you send something to the interview that has never been done before. They make what I say. So whenever you go for an interview and then you don't get a visa, you take your time and you do introspection and you look at the things. So I'll meet you in
All right.
So that just as Nancy said, we met. Nancy had an issue. Nancy, you had an issue with your I-20, right?
I just want to talk about, I think I forgot. So what happened was 2 weeks after I came back, after my prayers, I still didn't understand, because aside the fact that people believed in me, I knew how I talked, I knew how I spoke, I learned everything. It only took me to go into my I-20 and I realized that, so I think maybe from where I printed, I really recall when I was printing, there was some just and all that, but I didn't think it was going to shift some of my words. I only said, and I remember that I realized that my husband's fund, which was attempted to something, my husband's fund, the figure of my husband's fund, I'd rather be shifted to the on-campus, which was 0, because I'm not on campus yet, so I don't have a job. But my husband's fund has been shifted to that part. So the counselor in his mind was like, this is actually the biggest money on your I-20. It took me 2 weeks for me to sit down before I remembered. So if I had taken much time to look through my I-20 and all that wouldn't have happened. Boss was he was just shocked how it happened. It had shifted from here to down. It was interchanged. It had interchanged. Like unthinkable. So a lot of these things happen. I think I would urge each and everyone to look through things well before you go.
Thank you. So Gifty, we are going to meet for us to go through, okay? So don't worry.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Who else? Simon, go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening, Mr. Teo. Yeah, if you're being denied your visa and then you come back home, are you supposed to repay the initial fee you paid for your documents again to start all over again?
No. All what you have to pay is your another interview. How do you call it? Interview fee. That's it.
Fee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interview fee. That's it.
All right. Thanks very much.
All right. Who else? Who else has a question? Who else has a question? Okay, at this point, we have like 6 minutes, so we are done with the questions, and I'm going to stop the